Welcome to the Programming Alliance podcast. Today we have Eric McHugh on the show. A young guy, bit of a brainiac. He's the president of ShopX, a Web3 e-commerce, and involved in a number of other startups. He's worked in tech, places like Snap. He's lived in DC. He's lived in Barcelona. He's got a lot of world exposure. He currently consults for a number of Fortune 500 companies. In his spare time, he's got hobbies like chess, fighting, cuisine, reading, and meditation. Today, we're going to break down a number of topics in a way that hopefully I and the kids can understand around things like cryptocurrency, adoption rates, non fungible tokens, and how those relate to real world assets, AI, and meditation. So let's get into it. Eric McHugh, welcome to the Programming Alliance podcast. We are so glad to have you on the show. You've got a really interesting background and set of experiences. So, in your own words, could you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. Well, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric. I'm 30, and I'm super excited to be on this podcast. I can tell this is going to be a great one, especially because your two kids are on. This is honestly fantastic. I had a pretty blessed childhood growing up, born and raised in beautiful Southern California. Lots of sports, lots of friends, good family dynamic, which is honestly it sets a good groundwork for growing up. I went to school at the University of California, Irvine, where I interned in Barcelona as a project manager and in Washington, D.C. as a consultant, which was more of a funny experience because of how polar opposite those two things are. Like in D.C., you show up like 8 a.m., full suit in that swamp-like humidity, fully sweating. And in Barcelona, you show up like 10 o'clock, like in sandals, and you're like the first one there. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting dynamic. My first job out of college was at Snap Inc. It was helping craft their ad algorithm.
Okay.
And I took that for two reasons. The first was the location. So location was in Venice Beach, and they didn't have one big campus. They had a bunch of different houses and warehouses that they bought. So you got to jump around different houses and work with different work pods, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also right before their IPO. So I wanted to be around a company going through that type of energy. My second job out of college was as a bankruptcy consultant, which honestly I took it because like out of college, like, oh, I should probably get a job. Lawyer, doctor, consultant, those seem good on paper. Let's run with this one. So at that point in time is when it was when I really started my entrepreneurship journey before I even knew it. So as a consultant, I was working with clients, but at the same time I was simultaneously researching Bitcoin and became completely obsessed with that. So that's what kicked that off. And the ethos of Bitcoin didn't really align with the ethos of the consulting firm, it's not a fault of the firm itself. It's because as a consultant, you're building out a client. In our case, it's bankruptcy. So it's a client that doesn't have money. So we're taking it from a pool of money that should have been divided up between like me, you, like the regular people who own stock, or the company owes money. So we're making it smaller for everyone, which didn't work with Bitcoin. So I quit that job without really a plan. I'm like, okay, well, I know where I want to be. Now let's go get it. Started going to cryptocurrency meetups in my local area. Met the original ShopX team at one of those. A lot of our best ideas I found have just been when you're like in a group setting, just writing it out on a whiteboard, just like having like a massive mind type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So during one brainstorming session for ShopX, we came across a problem, and this problem had to do with affiliate codes. And it turns out we spun off a solution to solve that problem while brainstorming.
Mm-hmm.
So we spun off a secondary company that replaced affiliate codes. And that ended up getting VC funded. Not that that really matters, but VC funded. We were incubated in one of the top incubators probably in the world. And for your kids, what an incubator is, it's just like startup school. So you know, if you go to school and you have like your desks next to each other, it's like that, but with different companies. So like a bunch of early stage startups, they're working next to each other. Liquid Death was a startup right next to us, and other startups were like Dollar Shave Club and just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, we were working on that startup. I'm surrounded by a bunch of talented people in different fields at different levels. So I networked my way through as many people as I could, grabbed lunch with as many people as I could, figured out what worked for them, what didn't work for them. Absorbing that amount of information, you just have to do it because like it's invaluable. I'm presently working on two companies right now. The first is a Web3 e-commerce platform. The second is a AI-powered matchmaking service. The reason I'm working on two is I think everyone's happiest when they're serving other people. And I think God, the creator of the universe, gives everyone individual gifts. Like my gifts are mine. The two kids, if you try to be me, you can't beat me at being me because I'm number one at being you. But if I try to beat either of you, I can't beat either of you at being you. So be you. So like if you're happiest serving other people and you're the number one you in the world, the best way to serve other people at scale is to follow your genuine intellectual curiosity, and wherever that leads you, whether it be companies, content, e-commerce, food, like wherever it leads you, that's where you're supposed to be. And I just kind of followed that path, and here we are.
Okay, very cool. Well, there's a lot to get into here, and some of these topics are a little bit advanced for a 10 and 12-year-old, but I think we're going to do our best to break it down in ways that they can understand it today, because it is the future. And this is one of the really interesting things about having somebody like you on the show, is to talk about some of these technical avenues of the future. So let's get into it.
Okay, so my first question is that my dad told me that you love chess, and I love chess too. What do you like about it?
So for me, it was a good hobby and it replaced a negative hobby. So the negative hobby was mindlessly scrolling on social media. So like I'd take out my phone, like I did a tally. I'd take out my Instagram reels, scroll, scroll, scroll. How much of this adds value? Zero of it. So instead of taking them out Instagram, I downloaded chess.com, and then I put that right next to my social media account. So whenever I have the dopamine urge to go on my Instagram, I break out, I play a couple of lightning games on chess. And honestly, dude, I think it's just kind of fun. Like you can just break out like a game in 5 minutes. You win, lose. It can be annoying though. Like I hate the draws. Like the stalemates are probably the worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just a good hobby.
That's actually a really interesting thing that you did, though, where when you had the urge to open Instagram, instead you went to something that was a more productive choice for you, as you determined. That's good advice. We're gonna put that in the vault.
All right.
Sorry, boy. Sorry, kids.
I heard you enjoy meditation and mind exercises. Can you tell us more about that and why do you like them?
Yeah, so meditation has been the single most beneficial for me that I've started in my life. And to give you guys some more concrete examples, like during the time when I was at that VC incubator, just networking my way through, I noticed all the top performing individuals, they had a spiritual practice. So I'd be like, yo, do you want to get lunch? And I'm like, I can't have to meditate, or I can't have to do my meditation walk. And at the time, I thought that was kind of strange, but actually starting it, it's probably been one of the most beneficial things I've ever done because it clears your mind. So if you think of your mind like an email inbox, if you haven't opened your email inbox throughout your whole lifetime, the first time you open it, it's going to be filled with clutter, filled with thoughts, filled with this, filled with this. And a lot of our thoughts are actually programming that doesn't benefit you, which results in bad habits. Whereas meditation, it clears that all out and it kind of helps you figure out who you are, what you want to do. And once you figure out who you are, what you want to do, you can better attack that. And on top of that, it changes the color of your thoughts if you do it enough. Thoughts and habits are two of the most powerful things in your life. A bad habit will send you down a bad path. A good habit will send you down a good path. So, which is great that you're playing chess, by the way. But a bad thought, like a repetitive bad thought, it's like if you imagine this, you wake up every day and you're like, oh, this day's gonna suck. Oh, blah blah blah. So and so happening in my life. Your day is gonna suck if you start thinking your day is gonna suck because you'll start attuning to a frequency where your day sucks. Where if you're positive, you're thinking, oh, this day is gonna go good. Everything's gonna work out well. I'm gonna meet my friends. It's gonna be a good time. Then you start bringing that into your world. So meditation helps you clear out your thoughts and become a positivity generator versus a negativity generator. Plus, it's nice and quiet, which is I've learned to love.
I love that. Are there tips you could give us? So a meditation walk, maybe, what does that include? How do you get into the right mindset?
So the meditation walk, it's been a bit difficult for me, but in terms of starting meditation, it's really whatever works for you guys. Only you know what works for you, so just follow your heart on that one. But there are different styles of meditation. Like there's guided ones, there's walking. I personally did a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat, so it's like 10 full days of meditation. That was honestly the best experience I've ever done. I'm happy to go into more of that if you want. But a good starter for you guys, or just for anyone new, because trust me, it's hard when you first start. If you haven't meditated before, it's like try sitting for 5 minutes. Like a bunch of stuff comes to the surface. It's like, why am I doing this? This is stupid. The two tips I can give you to start is just treat your body like a dog, like a pet. Like if you have a pet, you're like, hey dog, sit for 10 minutes. You're going to get your food. You're going to get your water, but you're sitting for 10 minutes. So like when you start meditating, you're like, I need to check my email. I'm thirsty, even though I wasn't even thirsty. I need my coffee. I need to go on my phone. All those are going to come up, and it's your brain trying to trick you to stop the meditation. Just power through that for the first 10 minutes. And another hack I like to use is something called binaural beats. So if you go on YouTube or Spotify and just search binaural beats, it's a different frequency in each ear, and it forces your brain to balance the frequencies, and they can have a calming meditative effect. So I used to do that a lot in college when I was like in the library. That's what before I even knew about meditation, I was doing that in the library, just like binaural beating up. And no, honestly, they help a lot.
Wow. That's interesting. I'm going to have to check that out. We got to plug this into our routine. I'd say we try to plug in positive habits into our routines, and this is one that I think we could probably do a better job of. So there's guided meditation, like you mentioned. Do those work, or is it better to sort of try to do it on your own?
Yeah, no, those work. I would say as a starter, I would start with a guided meditation just because it's more easy.
Mm-hmm.
I find that the hardest one, but the most beneficial for me is just the straight silence. So like, if I'm really trying to get into it depends when I'm in the mood. And like maybe if I do an easier one, I'll pop out like a 15-minute guided meditation. That's no problem because you're kind of distracting yourself. If I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I want training wheels, I just want to have fun. I want to like feel good out programming the binaural beats because it kind of overrides your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start feeling good because then it just changes your mind to good thoughts. Because you're listening to like a dopamine binaural beats, you're going to start feeling good thoughts, and those are going to come to the surface, which is nice to have. But if I really want to get into it, the hardest one is just the straight silence, the Vipassana meditation retreat. So what you do with that one is you just focus your area like inch by inch, and you scan your body back and forth. And what this does, like no music, no nothing, no anything. What this does, it extracts the traumas and impurities that you've stored throughout your whole life in the form of different sensations. So if I really want to get work done, I do that one. And so that's the method that the Buddha used to reach enlightenment. So in the meditation retreat, we did something called a strong determination meditation, which is like a straight hour of just no sitting. Like you're sitting, like no moving, you're staying in the same position because you have to have strong determination. So if I really want to get some inner work done, that's what I do. But that's also quite challenging because, to be honest, sitting for that while, it gets really painful.
Some of the key benefits you get out of this, defragmenting your mind almost like you do with a computer or a device at times. What are the major benefits that you found from meditation?
Yeah, so I'll give one for the chess player just because it's an example. So just, you know how you in chess, like you could screw up the last move, but in your last move, you could have made the best possible move. And this is the same for fighting too. So you could have made the best possible move last move. You could have made the worst possible move last move. It doesn't matter. What should you do this possible move? The best thing to do at this possible move is to make the best possible move. And the next move, you should make the best possible move. And if your mind is clear, calm, it's a lot easier to do that. And in startup world, a lot of stuff is happening at the same time. Nothing is going right. So having that calm mindset is extremely helpful. But I would say the most beneficial thing from meditation is a bit spiritual. I think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So when you're saying you're sad, you're saying I'm vibrating at a certain frequency. When you're saying you're angry, you're at a certain frequency. When you're saying you're loving, a certain frequency. When you're saying you're thankful, a certain frequency. And just like a radio station, when you tune to a specific station, like you get that station. So that's why sad people always attract sad people, angry people always attract angry people. But with the meditation, it switches you from a negativity generator to a positivity generator. Well, let's put in a practical example. Let's say I go to a networking event in the Hollywood Hills with like VCs, other startup founders. I'm going in there with the vibe of I'm just trying to help people. So like let's say I meet you in like real life. I'm like, okay, let's see what I can do to help him. And then you either pick up on that subconsciously or consciously, and then you're like, okay, this guy's trying to help me. No, I'm trying to help him. Versus the other way where it's like, let's see what we can get out of each other. Because, you know, like you can feel when someone's like trying to, and then when someone's just trying to be helpful, you can pick up on that too. And most business is done with real relationships.
That's interesting. Intuition, I think, is something that we can't quite put our finger on yet as a species. And maybe it's to your point, it's like a frequency of vibes that you get off of somebody, or it's your subconscious telling you something that you're not able to articulate through normal intelligent thought gathering. But I have found that sometimes leaning on intuition is really valuable because there's something there. I just can't quite put my finger on what is driving me to it.
I trust my gut. I think my gut has my back. A lot of times I think it's just like my higher self channeling stuff for me to like find. I have my best ideas after meditation, like hands down. Like if I'm trying to be creative, meditation is the best thing I can do. But from your gut, think about it logically. We're going through our day. A bunch of stuff is happening, a bunch of sensory things. We're picking up probably less than 1% of that. And I think our gut and subconscious is registering all of that. So your gut is just trying to interpret that. You may have missed this from like the conscious perspective, but subconsciously you're picking up all of that. So that's where I think that's coming from. You've dealt with a certain amount of people. Let's say you've been screwed over in the past, like a couple times. Those people in the past probably either had the same vibration. And the thing is, if they have the same vibration, that means their body chemically is producing different chemicals. Like, for example, if you're stressed out all the time, you're producing different chemicals. If you're calm all the time, like if you're stressed out, it's like a tiger chasing you, have to produce different chemicals.
Yeah.
Otherwise you die. So you can pick up a bunch of stuff like that where we just can't do it, but our gut can. So always trust your gut.
We're going to apply this because I'm a big believer in intuition. Some people are like, no, only logic. I think you got to have a combination.
So what does your daily routine look like?
Yeah, sure. So my daily routine is pretty hectic. So I run 2 companies. So like I probably have like a slight version of ADHD or something just because I like to jump around different things. So 2 different companies. It's a bunch of just like different calls. Like it could be this podcast, it could be engineering work, it could be sales work. Like I really don't know. So the meat of my day is run by my calendar. If something's on the calendar, I show up. If I need to set time for myself on the calendar, I will do so too. So like I'm like, okay, I need to go on a walk. I'll go on a walk. I need to meditate for an hour. Sorry, calls. You're going to have to wait. But I have a set beginning and end. So those are standard throughout my week. So I wake up every morning at 4:20 just because I find it funny. I think you're a little too young for that, but that's the time I wake up. The first thing I do when I wake up is I do meditation and set my intention for the day. So with meditation, I set my intention like, okay, day's going to go well. We're going to help people. Calls going to be crushed. And I believe in quantum reality, which means in this present moment, every single alternative, like everything is happening all at once. Like there's in all situations happening right now. The situation that's showing up is the one you're paying attention to. So if I set my meditation for attention during the day, it's like, okay, the day is going to go well. I create a reality where the day goes well, because from a scientific perspective, you think something's going to happen, you start looking for signs of that happening and kind of recreate it yourself. It's like, oh yeah, like I went to the gym slightly faster. Good day. Let's say I woke up, I set an intention for a negative day versus a positive day. Some guy could have just said, hey, let's talk. From the negative mindset, like, oh, what does he want? Maybe he wants something from me. Maybe I'm in trouble. And then you start caring about that. And then the call goes worse. But like, hey, let's talk. Oh, we're going to have to work together. We're going to crush it. We're going to do some business. That's usually what happens. So I wake up, meditate in the day. Right when you wake up is when you have the most melatonin in your system. And your brainwaves are different because you just woke up too. So you're operating a different brainwave state. So that's why it's better. Go to the gym, sauna, just because health is extremely important. Like, don't ever lose your health. Do my day. And then I have random chess spurts throughout the day. So like I'll play chess. Like I'll try to get at least 10 games of rapid chess throughout the day. See how I do. I like to win 3 in a row just to put me in a good mood. But if I'm just losing, I'm just like, I'm over this. And then I close my day with Muay Thai. The reason I close my day with Muay Thai is A, it's pretty much another version of chess. B, it's a fantastic physical workout. The people in the Muay Thai gym are really good-hearted people. Like no one's trying to get each other. Everyone's just trying to improve each other. And the last and most important reason is it keeps me present. So like if I go into Muay Thai, if I bring the opportunities from work into Muay Thai, I can't properly hold the mitts, or for sparring, I'll just get hit. And it's like, oh, this is kind of unpleasant and annoying. So then I better focus on this. And then after that, I feel good. It's a good way to release dopamine.
Yeah. I like that. Actually, fighting, I think, is probably a great tool for being present in the moment. Because if you're not, you can get your butt beat, right? So I think this is why people like Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu's gotten a lot more popular. Well, boys, maybe we should start fighting at the end of the day. What do you think?
No. Yeah. No. Come on, Dad. Oh, God. All right. So let's now go shift over into the artificial intelligence. There's obviously a lot of benefits, but do you think Terminator, Skynet, or the Matrix could become a reality?
I think we are kind of living in some of a matrix, but aside from that, I don't think the Terminator thing is a reality because we can always turn the off switch. And regarding technologies like AI, the cool thing is technologies like AI, they're inherently neutral. So it's up to the people building and up to the people using AI to build their technologies to make it either good or bad. For example, because at its core, AI is just really good at pattern recognition at scale. That's why AI is going to get really good at chess, because chess is also pattern recognition at scale. So like AI is going to get really good at just recognizing stuff that we miss and then optimizing that. So for example, let's say I get all the medical records in the world. I use AI to analyze that. It spits out a data list of, okay, these people exhibited these symptoms early on. They're going to develop these diseases. I could take 2 routes. I could A, warn these people, help create a cure, help them. Or I could also be like, okay, well, let's not create a cure. Let's create a cure for the future and then charge them massive amounts of price. So it's up to the user to build good AI. I think it's very important to know that most people are generally, overall, like 95% of the people are good people just trying to help each other out. And most people building the AI technologies right now are overall good people trying to help each other out. So I don't foresee a Terminator world going forward. It's more so just think of it like a butler type thing for you guys. Like it's going to help enhance whatever you have going for you and then help you just give back to the world in a better way. Like, for example, if you had an idea in your brain, it's like, okay, I want to start an e-commerce chess. Like, let's say you want to start a new chess app. Like, chess.com doesn't work for you. I have to start a new chess app. You can use AI to help design that logo, help design your website, help you build the app because it's your idea. And if it's your actual idea, I think it will do a good job. And what we're doing for dating too, it's like it's just a dating butler. So it's going to help us on overall.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I was worried about Skynet. I'll be honest. I was worried about Skynet.
Yeah,
so no.
That'd be crazy if that would be crazy if that actually came into real life. Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
We'd be destroyed.
Yeah, we don't need any of that. But AI will certainly be a big factor in your lives, boys, in terms of how it helps, supports, or how you lean on it. And I think as Eric said, if you use it in the right ways, it can be really, really valuable.
Well, let's switch again to another topic. This time is entrepreneurship. I think I said it correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
So how did you get into the entrepreneur mindset?
It's one of those things when the student is ready, the teacher appears itself, and this just so happened to be the Bitcoin ethos. And the reason I got into Bitcoin is because I wanted to make money like everyone else. So most people, they get into Bitcoin like, okay, free internet money. Let's buy a small amount. You buy that small amount, you have skin in the game, then you start reading you have skin in the game, so you start research learning it more. And so that's what kicked me off with just reading and consuming all the Bitcoin information I could, which aligned well with entrepreneurship. So after Bitcoin, it started, like I started getting fed like entrepreneurship books, started talking to entrepreneurship circles, surrounding myself with that content. And then I just kind of made that leap of faith with a consulting job and just went for it. And that's how it worked.
Nice.
A follow-up on that, we got these two young gentlemen here, 10 and 12 years old, and we've started a little bit of an entrepreneurial journey of our own with this social media business and a podcast, and we got a few other things in the hopper. But what advice would you have for kids starting a business?
Yeah, so it really depends person by person, because everyone can be, but not everyone really wants to be an entrepreneur. Right. There's nothing wrong with going down the corporate route. The reason I'm happy I didn't go down the corporate route is just I think entrepreneurship is much more fruitful. It helps me do what I do best, which is be me. So the advice for kids growing up who want to start the entrepreneurship journey, literally just start. Like once you start going down the path, just work on it consistently and daily and just have good intention and you should be fine. And if you are starting a business, I always like to follow two rules because karma 100% exists. If you do bad things come to you. But if you do good things come to you. Mm-hmm. So when you're starting a business, you're like, okay, well, does this take anything away from anyone? No. Do I harm anyone? No. And if you do those, it should be good to go. And the cool thing is most entrepreneurships fail, but even if you failed, it's a great learning experience. So you can also set your parameters to victory. So for me, I look at every experience. Look at this podcast, for example, like I'm the one who decides if this is a good podcast or not. So if I were to set my parameters of like, okay, if this podcast doesn't get 1 million views, that's a complete waste not of my time. Mm-hmm. Then that would create a bad environment. But if I go with the mindset like, okay, I want to meet these cool people. Mm-hmm. I want to learn something. Oh, cool. I did learn something. That was a win. And that just puts much better energy out there. So it's a continuous learning thing.
Yeah. I like
read
that.
Too.
Good energy, boys. Good energy.
Read too. Read lots.
You guys are good readers. I think that will help.
Reading's fun.
Read a variety because it activates different parts of your brain and it trains you to get to think about problems in a different way. And the cool thing about reading is like you have the chance to learn from some of like literally the most smartest people in the world. And if you read a book, you're not going to process all the information. You're going to miss like 95% of it. But the parts of the information that you process and integrate naturally are the parts that really call to you and help you. So it's just a good way to find some nuggets and enhance yourself. I think like a game, just enhancing your stats.
Mm-hmm. All right. So your business, ShopX, looks interesting, but it's kind of advanced for 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds. Can you like explain it?
Yeah, sure, I'm happy to. And I honestly think your age group gets it better than your dad's age group. But
it's true.
Yeah,
we're smarter.
In terms of ShopX, it's a Web3. It's a way for Web2 brands to enter the Web3 space. So if you're a brand like Nike, Adidas, Lululemon, Fear of God, you want to get into the Web3 space, you would use a company like ShopX to do so. So to understand what the Web3 space is, it's very important to understand what Web 1 is versus Web 2 versus Web 3. First of all, those are just names people came up with just because it makes logical sense. Like 1 is 2, then 3, of course. So Web 1, the best way to think of it is read only. So if we were in Web 1, and this was the past before you guys were born, you could go online and you could read stuff, which is fantastic because that helped information spread. Web 2, you can read and you can write. So think of Instagram, think of social media, think of YouTube. So I could write an Instagram post, YouTube, like this podcast. We can write this podcast. We can write it on Instagram.
Yep.
We wrote that post. You guys can view that post. But the only issue is we don't own that post. So who owns that post in this example? Instagram. They can sell our data for nefarious purposes. They could cancel us. They could take away either mine or your dad's accounts at any point in time for whatever reason they want. So they own the internet in that sense.
Yep.
Web 3 is read, write, and own. So not only can we read the content, write the content, but we also own the content. So for example, if I were, let's say we're playing, do you guys play video games?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say we're playing Fortnite. Because I had a streamer, like I had a friend, his name's like Nick or something, where he said something offline and they took away his Fortnite account, they took away his skins, they took away his everything custom, just because he said something not good. But let's say this is a Web3 video game. If you purchase that skin in real life, the game developer, they can't take away the skin from you. It's your skin. Your dad, he can't take away the skin from you. It's your skin. The government can't come in and take away the skin from you. It's your skin because it's read, write, and own. If you want to sell the skin in the future, you can. And because you own the skin in the future with more video games, it's easier to go cross video game too. So like it's that type of feature. And then your skin, it can act as a access for other things too. So you may own the specific Fortnite skin. And if you want to sell that skin in the future, you could sell for, like, let's say it becomes like the next, like Ninja, like it becomes a Ninja level. You could sell, and it becomes more valuable, you can sell the skin in the future and then you could keep the profit.
Today, Fortnite would be a Web 2 setup, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
because people can be banned if they do that.
So, for example, we play Fortnite here in this house. It's a fun game. And then we have our skin library. And those skins, we own them in the game, but technically Fortnite could take them away or they could nuke our account. And then all those skins that we purchased are gone, right?
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story? A short one.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is the king of cryptocurrency. If you're in the space, Ethereum is number 2. So it's kind of the one where a lot of projects are launched. The creator of Ethereum, his name is Vitalik Buterin. The reason he started Ethereum is because he was playing WoW, World of Warcraft, and a patch nerfed his character.
That's interesting motivation, but it worked out for him. It worked out for him.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Can't be nerfing characters.
Yeah.
Especially after you spend that much time on it. He's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that helps a lot. Put it into simpler terms that we can understand. To follow up on real world assets and tokenizing those, how does that work? And what are the key benefits that somebody could get out of tokenizing a real world asset?
I'm happy you brought that up because that's what ShopX does, tokenizing real world assets very well. And tokenizing real world assets, I think, is the best way to bring a lot of people into the cryptocurrency space, which is good for everyone. So tokenizing a real world asset is essentially creating a link between a physical and digital product. And this has plenty of benefits. Let's say hypothetically, you purchase like Nike glasses. You have the physical product itself. If it's, you get the token version too. If you go into the metaverse, you go into any technology like space in the future, your metaverse avatar could get those glasses as well. And on top of that, if you purchase that item in the metaverse, like in a game like Ready Player One, you can get the real life prior to through token gating. So you own this tokenized product, that unlocks the product. It also helps with the supply chain too. In the Nike example, like the Nike product sold once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Then Nike could use that. They get that NFT would track all that data, and then Nike could see, okay, I sold this for this amount, and they could program royalties for themselves. And on top of that, the customer can ensure it came back to Nike. Long term, I think it's going to be a really good system because if you're an e-commerce product, you have to sell stuff. What do? You have to go to Amazon, you have to go wherever. It can create different marketplaces if you're selling the ENFT or the tokenized product. So for example, there could be Nike, Adidas, Lululemon. Nike could sell Adidas NFTs on the Nike site. If the customer gets the product so they're happy, Nike will get a commission for hosting that product. and then Adidas would get the sale, so everyone's happy. So it creates a just big plethora, like a big pool of products. So if you've seen The Matrix where Neo summons all the guns, instead of going to all the individual gun stores to find those guns, he brought them all there. So that's a long-term play for real-world assets.
Interesting.
And that's one of those things that's like, one brand using it, not that much, who cares? 100 brands, it's a little something. But once everyone starts getting on the train, that's when it becomes an interesting space.
Yeah. Is there a challenge that will present itself? For example, let's say you buy a pair of very rare Nike shoes. You tokenize it through as a real world asset, but that pair of shoes probably has like an NFC tag or something in it to link it to that digital token. I suspect there could be theft or fraud in removing the NFC, putting it on another pair of shoes. Are there some drawbacks or some challenges that you think will present themselves with this real world asset tracking?
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge, is because the key tenet of cryptocurrency is ownership. So in the ownership world of cryptocurrency, if you own the cryptocurrency, it's yours. So you can do what you will with it. But what do you do if you lose it? Like if my mom has an NFT, she can't like call Chase. It's like, yo, can you bring this back? She can't do that. So the tracking and connection is the biggest issue right now, because the NFT is owned by a cryptocurrency wallet. And those have private keys. So one wallet, if you have the key to the wallet, you can access all the cryptocurrencies. You can build in safeguards. Like the Nike shoe, 3 wallets have access to that cryptocurrency. Okay. If I lose it, I can cancel it and transfer it over if there's enough people in place to ensure like authenticity. So you can work with like a third party. Like imagine like a house, you lose real estate's tokenized. It helps you find that new marketplace to buy that. It helps the transaction. The transaction is a lot smoother monetary wise. But if I lose my wallet, I can't lose my house. So you can split up ownership between different wallets, and it could be even like a third party custodian too. So you can give your trusted bank access to it as well. And you own 2, they own 1. You lose one of your wallets, they sign it with you. That's good to go. So there's going to be a bridge. It's not going to be straight, just Web3 stuff straight away. Nor should it ever be.
It's the future, definitely. Tokenizing all these things. I even think about our home, our car, valuable assets that we have, particularly as the dollar seems to be continuing its slide and devaluation.
It's time to move on to rapid fire.
Big fire! This is the best session.
Yeah. So you have to say it. So we ask you questions, and then you have to answer them as fast as possible.
Shoot.
Oh boy. I'm sure he's stressed here.
All right. Typically, everyone's really stressed.
Terrified. Petrified.
All right. You ready? 3.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So, excluding us, who is your idol?
Hermes Trismegistus.
Would you rather live in a multiverse or the Matrix?
We live in the Matrix and in a multiverse.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Coolest invention in your lifetime?
Bitcoin.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I do have a superpower. To create reality. Creating reality.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
And I'm super handsome too. That's the side effect of that one.
Love it.
Would you rather die to a great white shark or a flaming hot volcano?
Equally painful. Great white shark, is at least you're giving back to nature.
All right.
I like that.
Would you rather fight a 1,000-pound duck or 1,001-pound ducks?
I'd do the 1,000-pound duck.
Okay. Would you rather be for the rest of your life vegetarian or carnivore?
The answer right now would be carnivore, but as I get older, I'll probably transition in the future to more of a spiritual benefit, spiritual type of life. And at that point, vegetarian works better. So I'd actually probably pick vegetarian, even though I love meat.
Yeah.
I love steak.
It'd be hard to give away meat. All right.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Have you ever been stuck in a bathroom stall without toilet paper?
Yes.
We all Congratulations, you have completed rapid fire. We all have been stuck.
I go to 24-hour fitness. The toilet paper isn't there like half the time.
Yeah. Yes.
All right,
sad.
that concludes rapid fire. All right, thanks for entertaining us on that. You've had some of the most interesting rapid fire answers that we've ever heard, actually. Can you give us a little bit more detail on the metaverse and the Matrix?
What?
Yes. So for the multiverse, like I mentioned quantum theory, like the quantum physics, where I think all the infinite possibilities are happening right now, which is essentially just the multiverse. If you believe that as a fact, you can use practices like spiritual and habits to go on good timelines. Cause and effect is one of the absolute rules of the universe. So if I have every decision I look, I'm like, okay, if I make this decision, it's going to put me in a bad timeline. It's going to put me in a good timeline. So I use that to claw to a better timeline I have now. From outside looking in, I have this level of success because of that mindset. And the Matrix, I think everything is programmed. Don't get me wrong, like this world is beautiful. Everything is great. But I think it's all simulation. I think it's all fake. I think it's a programming that our human soul is designed. Like, for example, the way I look at God, and I believe in like a creator, conscious, whatever you want to call it. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. So the way I look at it, think of it like the sun, where consciousness is the sun. I'm an individual ray from the sun. So are you two. So are you two. We have our individuality, but we're also the same. So if I'm hating on both of you, that's stupid because I'm just hating on myself. But we always return back to the source, and we selected our lives. So I selected this body, this parent, this social status, this everything, because there are lessons I need to learn on my journey that are individual to me. So I'm going to go through, learn those lessons, and eventually return back to the source.
Wow.
Could be wrong.
That's deep.
That's like one of the deepest ones we've heard from anyone on this podcast.
I didn't really hear your idol. What was that? Like
Hermes Trismegistus.
Who is that again?
So he's an ancient philosopher type thing. He came up with Hermeticism. It's an ancient religion. He's one of the first people I know who got energy, frequency, and vibration down to science, but like way back in the day. So he's the one who inspired like Sir Isaac Newton. All the secret societies are based on his teachings, and I think it's a worse form of him. So he's an old guy. He eventually became known as Thoth, the Egyptian god. But he's yeah. So I also believe there are 3 planes of the universe. Like I think there's the physical, which we're on right now. There's mental and the spiritual. So he's one of the people who've mastered all 3. So I think it was like a giga chat of all that stuff.
Wow. The giga chat.
The giga chat. I love it.
All right.
Wow. Interesting. We'll have to do a little more research.
That's a fun deep dive. Check out the Emerald Tablet of the Kai Babylon. His rules are good. Like they've helped me. The benefits I've had just from knowing them. It's a supreme competitive advantage.
Well, that's some pretty deep stuff, Eric. I like it, though. We're going to do a little bit more research on our end. In particular, I like your discussion around climbing onto a more positive timeline. And so if the universe is built out of a cause and effect multiverse, you want to claw yourself onto the positive outcome timeline every opportunity you have to make a decision. I love it. I think that's a great way to sort of look at life and work through life and put yourself on a good path. So that, I think, is good advice no matter what your spirituality might be.
Cause and effect. That's a thing.
Do you have any final words for GSD Nation?
Oh, GSD Nation. That was fun talking to you. My goal is to be as helpful as possible, so just feel free to reach out anytime. Just remember that you're the number one you in the world, so always do you. You'll figure it out eventually, and when you are consciously creating, don't hurt anyone and don't take it away from anyone, and you should be chilling.
All right, thanks.
I love that. Good advice. Thanks. As we close out, Eric, are there resources or places we can go to learn more about you or the businesses that you're running?
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about ShopX Web3 e-commerce, the best place is shopx.co, shopx.co. If you are wanting to use our AI-powered matchmaking service, and it's hopefully approved by Apple by the time you hear this, it'd be dataing.io. If you want to hit me up personally, the Instagram would be the best, Eric, ERICD, McHugh, MCHUGH. And the reason for that is I like the voicemail notes. And the book we talked about with the Hermes was The Emerald Tablet. That's a good one. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is a good one. Oh. Anti-Fragile, that whole Inserto series by Taleb was the best for entrepreneurs. So that's a good starting point for that.
We'll make sure to link those in the description so people can check it out. And A New Earth was actually recommended by somebody else. We have it on the way, so we're going to check that book out.
That's a good, if the kids read that one, you guys will have such a large head start on so many people.
Eric, this was a really cool conversation. You've got a lot of interesting background and perspective on things. I think our audience is really going to enjoy this podcast, and the boys learned a lot. And we've got a number of takeaways for a little bit deeper dives and research to improve ourselves and improve our path. So we thank you for taking the time. We wish you the best of luck on your journey and clawing yourself along that positive timeline. So good luck with that, and we'll definitely stay in touch. That's a wrap. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, like, comment, share. It really makes a difference for us. Thank you. Until next time.